Peter Robinson, First Minister, thank you for your time. After Ronan Kerr's murder, Real IRA has promised to kill more police. Clearly, public anger, PSNI arrests, extra anti-terrorism cash won't stop the dissidents. What do we do next?
Well, it certainly doesn't stop them from threatening, and it doesn't stop them from attempting to kill. The society has to unite. It has done that in the most emphatic way. It also has to give up these people, and we have seen information coming to the PSNI, and we have seen searches taking place, and we have seen arrests taking place. So if there is that flow of information coming through to the PSNI, then I believe that these people can be taken out of our society, but it does require the combination of the community standing together and giving information to the PSNI, and at the same time support for the police and the police taking the action and using the full use of the process of law.
Mr. Robinson, I know it's not your call, but when do you think the army may have to be brought back? What is the point of no return on security?
Well, if there ever came an occasion when the Chief Constable felt he needed that support, then obviously we would be supporting the Chief Constable in that, though it will be entirely his decision. It isn't a political decision. We made sure of that when the powers for policing and justice were devolved. I hope that we don't get to that situation. I believe that there is such a strong condemnation from the community and such a determination from the politicians that we can stand up to these people and that we can get the evidence that will put them away.
The danger of unionist vote fragmentation, from your points of view, could mean Sinn Féin end up the largest party on May the 5th with Martin McGuinness as First Minister. Could you live with that, or aren't you even contemplating second place?
Well, I don't think that anybody in an election campaign is going to look at the what-ifs in terms of failure. No general in a battle is going to start talking to his troops in terms of what he does if he is to lose. I not only take my position that we're hoping to win, but having gone around the province, I just feel that there is a movement towards the DUP and that we are gaining in support. And I think people do recognise that we have a vision for the future that should be supported and should be endorsed, that we are the party that can give the lead in taking Northern Ireland forward.
But your weak point, the TV would say that you're governing with former terrorists. How do you head off that charge and make that a positive point?
Well, I would have thought that even the TUV types, if there are any of them left, they would be saying that isn't it good that from the position where Martin McGuinness was once supporting those who were carrying out these activities, he's now condemning them. That indicates that we have not made the move, that Sinn Féin has made the move. Sinn Féin has changed its position. Terrorism was always wrong. It was wrong then, it's wrong now. And I'm glad that Sinn Féin has moved to our position of recognising that terrorism is wrong and has to be condemned.
You want smaller, less expensive government, fewer MLAs and stormont departments. But realistically, Mr. Robinson, that's not going to happen before 2015. After all, the much-trailed RPA council reduction has failed to materialise so far.
Well, I think you're wrong on both accounts. It can happen. You obviously couldn't have another election immediately afterwards to change the number of MLAs, but you could certainly be reducing the number of government departments, and you could certainly be streamlining local government within that period of time. There is an agreement at the executive level to reduce to 11 seats. The issue with not proceeding with it was that the costs are at the front end of the process, and the gains are at the tail end of the process. And as the Tory Ulster Unionist cuts took £4 billion out of our budget, where in the circumstances where we would have had to cut the budget another £130 million if we were to proceed with the review of local government at this stage, and that simply wasn't considered to be available to us. So the agreement is there to proceed. It's the cost that we're looking at and seeing if we can do it by getting savings into the process of local government at an earlier stage.
You aim to create 20,000 new jobs next Assembly. Is that net, Mr. Robinson, over and above expected public sector job cuts?
We're talking about bringing in 20,000 new jobs, and that's not taking into account where businesses in Northern Ireland, as we move out of recession, will be taking people back into employment themselves. We have actually created more jobs in Northern Ireland over the last 4 years, in spite of the recession, than at any time in the history of Northern Ireland. As you indicate by your question, the problem has been, because of the global recession, we have been losing jobs at the other end. Of course, the proposals that we have are aimed at making sure that we maintain our frontline services and we protect, as far as it is possible, the jobs in the public sector.
But 20% of young people are without a job now, students and school leavers. They need a quick economic fix. If you get voted in again, your party, what will you do?
We will maintain our record-breaking creation of jobs. I'm saying this again to you because I don't think it is fully appreciated by the public, that in the whole history of Northern Ireland, there have never been as many jobs created as we created over the last 4 years. And that's in spite of the economic environment in which we were working. Over the last 4 years, we have spent more money on infrastructure, improving our schools, our roads, our hospitals, our houses, than at any time since records began. And people in Northern Ireland have the lowest local taxes in the whole of the United Kingdom. We intend to maintain that record.
No 9,000 a year student fees, no water charges next Assembly. Certainly many economists say that the latter, no water charges, is unsustainable. We need money to protect frontline services.
Yeah, this is what worries me about some of the economists that I hear. All they seem to think about is that you improve services by paying more money for them. They never seem to think there is so much waste within the system. We're a low-tax party. We cannot justify taking money out of people's pockets to improve public services when there is savings that can be made within the present regime. Start cutting out all the waste and then ask people if there is a requirement for further funds to pay money. But at this moment in time, it is very clear to us that there are still savings that can be made.
Getting corporation tax to as low as 10%. How do you avoid big firms simply brass plating here and offering few or low paid jobs?
Well, I think that we want to increase the number of jobs, and our strategy is aimed at getting jobs above the median. We have done that because not only have we brought in more jobs than at any time in our history, but we've brought in better jobs than at any time in our history. And that's the strategy that Invest Northern Ireland have been taking forward. And we've got the pool of skilled young people coming out of our colleges and universities who are capable of doing those jobs. That's why we've concentrated on financial and business services, on ICT, on the green economy, on high-end engineering. Those are the jobs that can pay better, so that rather than getting the call centre jobs, though useful they have been, we can start to have less of those jobs which simply are taking people who are so much better qualified than the job that they're having to undertake, and we can get people full value for them, and indeed encourage people who have left Northern Ireland to come back. That's the ultimate objective. We want to have an economy which is high on exports to increase the market that we have, rather than relying on the home market here in the province.
Just a few more things. Address the small business owner who's maybe had to close premises or is finding exporting difficult. Will you be their friend? You want to grow exports by more than 50%. Is that just agri-food and IT, or have you other things in your sights?
Well, of course, our big exports would be people like Wrightbus in your territory, people like Bombardier in mine. These are the big figures in terms of exports. But there is such massive potential in smaller companies. But a lot of people, they need that extra encouragement to take on the export market. They don't have the expertise that is required, and that's the job of Invest Northern Ireland, to encourage them. I think it is also worth pointing out that in relation to our economy, we do have, over the last number of years, the position where we have about half the unemployment rate that they have in the Republic of Ireland, about the third of the unemployment rate that they have in Spain. We have been consistently under the average of the UK. We are still under the average of Europe as a whole. So while you have to look at these issues relatively because you're in a global recession, I believe that we have the means and the package. And if we can get a lower level of corporation tax, we would have an unbeatable product in encouraging investment to come to Northern Ireland. But I get concerned sometimes that we look too much to foreign direct investment because the basis of our economy is small business, and that's why we've started to look at the small business rate relief scheme, how we can make it easier for people who have the local retail shop to be able to keep their premises open in the tough times, and that's why we've increased the rate relief that's available to them.
Peter Robinson, you've survived the fallout from your wife's affair, the £5 land deal as it was called, and losing your common seat. Do you think the electorate will slightly punish you still with fewer MLAs, or are you very much an electoral asset?
Well, I believe that the party has to stand on its own policies, on its own vision. That's what we're doing. I believe that people are buying into that. I'm looking for a successful outcome to the election. I do recognise that 2007 was always seen by the media and political pundits as being a high watermark for the party. But I think we're up to chasing that, and we're certainly looking for a very good election and a very good outcome to it.
And very final question, I promise. Peter Robinson, you say the DUP's the main party of government now. Sinn Féin might disagree. What exactly do you mean?
Well, I'm not quite sure how they could disagree. We are the largest party in Northern Ireland. We're the largest party in the executive. We have the key Ministry of Finance and Personnel. And that's one of the important factors. I mean, people really do waste their vote if they vote for the other unionist parties, particularly as there is no confidence, I think, out there that either of the other two unionist parties, whether it's the Ulster Unionist Party or the TUV, would take up a position in the executive. The DUP is the only party that will represent you at the executive table. The Ulster Unionists are talking about opposition, and of course the Wreckers and the TUV wouldn't be going through the door in the first place.
Mr. Robinson, thanks very much for taking time out of your busy schedule, and all the best.
Thank you very much.